Knytt Stories by Floss won my heart almost instantaneously. Just by looking at the pictures, I knew I was in for a treat. And this game did not disappoint. Good story, good theme, good gameplay, and a soundtrack that will be in my heart forever. And it includes bonus features. Of course, it wouldn't be complete unless I give you the detailed rundown. Knytt Stories has done something very interesting with the story. As opposed to limiting you to just one story, you'll be able to download more and even create your own. We'll get into that a bit later. For now, let's take a look at the basic story that the game comes with. Essentially, we're playing as a little Knytt named Junie. Junie lived in a beautiful world, and then it turned into a desolated wasteland. A friend sends Junie a letter asking what happened to your world after this machine was built. Come and meet me so we can figure out how to get past it. The game starts, of course, initially at your character's house, and now's a good time to explain the controls. Rather than the standard ZX and C deal, S is our jump button. This took me a minute to get used to, but it's really easily adaptable. If anything, it feels a bit better in a game like this. Now in the game, there's wall jumping and wall climbing, and they're both done great. It's very precise, and it feels just right. You start out with no abilities. You can't even run. You can only walk. However, later you get the ability to run, but you can still walk if you hold A. Occasionally you come to these little white flashing spots. If you press down on these spots, it saves your game. It's that easy. Touch anything that hurts you, and you're sent back to one of these save points. Now, believe it or not, it's not painful, because even though there aren't all that many checkpoints, the checkpoints are spaced out evenly enough to make it less and less of a pain to go and recollect things. Yet there's just little enough to hold decent challenge. The only thing you'll really be collecting in the game is power-ups, keys, other stuff like that. Usually, they're all pretty close to a save point. And save points are always placed in the conveniently kind of hard places. The game's graphics set a really dark and toned atmosphere. I mean, they are not dull at all, they never get old. It sets a brilliant mood for the game. Everything resembles exactly what it should, though there were some points where I couldn't tell an enemy from a random animal. But of course, there's a power-up for that. It starts making you flash red as you get closer and closer to an enemy. Lots of these graphics are very pleasing to the eyes. My personal favorite place is the place that just looks like a forest was hit by like a nuke, and the only thing left is pretty much the trees and just pure blackness. It's pretty sweet. Another thing that's pretty sweet that I'm finally going to dive in is the music. The music is so atmospheric, it's like nothing else I've ever heard. It changes completely depending on the place that you're in, and it sets the perfect mood. Now, the soundtrack is not one of these weird, converted, whole bitmap things or anything, .bit or some kind of custom file type or anything along those lines. It's not a PX tone, it's not anything that's been generated. It's completely original OGG file. Apparently the soundtrack is available on Last.fm. There are points where, even on my first playthrough here, I just stand there and listen to the music. Sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's neutral. Sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's bright, sometimes it just really, really varies. There's tons of variations. I could go on and on about the music. I just love it. The sound effects, even though there's really barely any, they're good. The stepping sound effect can be a bit annoying, but you can actually look past that pretty easily. Now, I want to cover something that I haven't really covered in any of my previous reviews, but I just wanted to point it out right now, is the theme. The theme of the game is just so fitting. It's dark, it's atmospheric, it's moody, it has character. If you ever want an example of a polished indie game, Knytt Stories should be one of your top listings. The game not only comes with its basic story, but it also comes with a tutorial, and it's a very informative tutorial. It will give you the basic idea of how to play the game. Like I said earlier, there are other stories that you can download. Though no doubt some people might have taken the route of the Super Mario World hacks and just made it frustratingly difficult. But then there are those few who decide to design something that's actually worthwhile. Then there's people who just plain and simple don't even try, but will look past that. I never got to playing these downloaded stages, but they look pretty cool. Like I said at the beginning of the game, you will have no abilities. You can only jump a small height, and you can only walk. Near the end of the game, you can double jump, you can run, you can make a hologram of yourself, you can tell when an enemy is going to be close by. You have an umbrella that allows you to glide. All this is pretty symbolic of a polishing process. It starts from nothing and gets better and better as it goes. Again, I'm sorry, I have to point out the music. It's just amazing. Listen to some of this atmosphere. The music also has some pretty smooth transitions, and I must bring up the graphics yet again. It looks so moody. Yeah, I know. At the end of the day, Knytt Stories is just a polished masterpiece. It's a Metroidvania, as most people call it, and it's one of those games that really grows on you pretty quickly. I love it, and I have no doubt I always will. As far as the bonus features go, it does in fact have the downloadable levels, but if you want, you can actually go ahead and actually make your own. The game comes with an easy enough to understand editor. It takes some tinkering around to get used to, but you can adapt to it pretty easily. This game, I believe, has gamepad support. I haven't actually tried it. In case you haven't, there's always Joy to Key. For those of you who do not know what Joy to Key is, I made a review of it, but put in short, it maps keyboard settings to a gamepad. Back to Knytt Stories. There's quite a big variety of tile sets, more than just the in-game ones. Essentially, when you boot up the editor, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get to name your level and the author. First of all, you give your level the appropriate name, which is not socks and other various laundry. You can go ahead and upload it afterwards when you're done with it. You can send it to your friends, or you can just stick it on the internet if you want. I haven't done this yet, as I'm just getting used to the editor still. Though to give you a fair view of the interface, this is what it looks like. It's easy enough to understand, and if you're having difficulty, there's always tutorials. Well, this was a mighty long review. Well, I guess I'm gonna say Happy Halloween, and I'll see you guys in the next review.